Should
Hey everybody,
be
and welcome to the. Oh, sorry. Just too ready
nice,
and raring
Dave.
to go.
Right, let's check it out, mate. Make sure we're live.
I'm not even bothering, and you don't trust me. I'm getting the thumbs up,
You
though. I'm getting
realise
the
that
thumbs up.
I do trust you, but it's kind of one of those sort of default settings now that we have to check we're live,
Well,
even though
I've
we
had
know we're
two
live.
notifications. Marky V, Ramona is here.
Let's have a little look.
So if we're not live, something weird is happening. Hey Mark, hey Ramona.
Yeah, hey guys. Yeah, thanks for joining us. Another Tuesday tune in. Yeah, hey Mark, hey Ramona. If you have joined us, do say hello just so we can see who is on the live. Yeah, let's have a little look then. Who's joined us? James, Julie, Jim. Let's wait a little bit longer before we do. Whilst we're waiting for people to join us, Dave, what's today all about, mate? It's like your favourite subject, isn't it?
I've been waiting for ages to talk about this one. So actually, one of the most common questions, and anytime I've ever had a debate with a customer by email, it's pretty much been on this topic, which is boots or shoes, which to choose, when to make the choice to choose one over the other. Can't you? All of those questions we'll be going through today. So today's all about boots and shoes. So get your bingo markers ready because I'm pretty sure we're going to.
Your
You're gonna
bingo
need them.
markers, right?
You're gonna need them.
Brilliant.
What was
So
that
boots
noise,
and
Andy?
shoes then. So is that boots versus shoes, right?
Boots versus shoes is the one. So is one better than the other? When
Yeah.
one might be more suited than the other? Should you take one or the other? Should you take both?
Yeah.
I recently had an email chat with a customer who was like, "Can I use one?" And I replied and gave him my advice. And then he was like, "Okay, fair point, Dave. But what if I want to do this?" And I was like, so we had a back and forth about it. Yeah, all
Brilliant.
good.
Yeah, nice. We've also got a couple of sort of announcements today. So yeah, do stick on the live because we got a couple of things going on outside of boots and trainers. But yeah, Dave, we'll start then with boots. I mean, I know we've done a little bit of shopping, haven't we, in the house between the two of us. It smells a bit funky in this in the Yeti cave today because I got quite a few shoes in here.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be honest, and you could have at least brought me some clean ones in. But yeah, it's like a. I think Andy's raided the shed, but they're all really good, or at least they were at one point.
These are literally at just by my door. I got a bit of a shoe rack.
Yeah.
And yeah, these were all on there. So Ellie and Jen don't really have a choice. They don't really have much space because I think I don't know. Is it rare for a bloke to have more shoes than his missus? I'm not sure, but I've certainly got enough on the shoe rack anyway. I think Jen's trying to creep in with the space there, but I just can't help it.
And one thing that I noticed as well, it sounded like you either strummed a guitar or hit a gong.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's the old mic here. I might have.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's the old mic, was it? Yeah. Leah noticed it as well. And
oh, really? Is that a guitar?
Yeah, we were
Dave,
going to rock
you're a
out for a
guitarist.
second.
I mean, I'm more of a singer, but Dave's a.
No, yeah, I don't want to accept that label.
Oh, like the triangle. I know you can play the triangle, right?
I mean, I can play a triangle. I can play the hell out of a triangle. I used to be able to do Happy Birthday on a recorder. Multi-instrumentalist, mate. That's me.
Brilliant. Well, look, I mean, yeah, obviously, Dave's explained there. The main reason we're talking about, boots versus sort of shoes is that, yeah, some people like to use boots and have the security and safety of having a boot, and others like lightweight shoes, and maybe they're more into their sort of trail running, or they just prefer less on their feet, which is fine and works for a lot of people. I mean, I think any one thing we say about today is that whatever we say, it can be different for you. So if you're used to doing boots or used to being out and just having some trainers on, then yeah, if that what works for you, great. We do always say though at high altitude that on the type of terrain that you can go on, especially if you're on Everest Base Camp, Kili, even if you're on a peak like Island Peak, you need to take care of your feet. So when we're talking about our opinions here, it's because we're coming at it from a conservative point of view in terms of safety. And, we don't want people because we've seen it. People roll their ankle. People can have blisters, and it can be hard. It can really make their trip suck. So, we want to sort of share some of the things or some of the types of ones we use, because, you don't want to be wearing boots all the time. So, what do we wear in the evenings? What do we wear when we're at camp? Not just on the trekking side of it, when, I know Dave, if you've been on any of our lives, you know that Dave is a big fan of getting out of their boots. And obviously we'll come into that in a bit. But Dave, where should we start? Should we go through what we got today? So should we start with boots or trainers?
Let's start with boots. Yeah, let's get them in the forefront.
We'll go big. Okay, cool. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll bring in now this.
Which boots have you got, mate?
Yeah, I don't think we talked about these ones before. These are relatively new to the community. Now, there's a company called Maindle that make boot hands. Certainly.
They are a pretty good make, actually. The Maindles. I'll be honest with you; these need to be waxed.
They've seen some action in the last week. I'm not going to lie. My boots do get used a lot. So yeah, these are the Maindle boot hands, by the way, guys. If you've been on any of these lives, I'd say 90% of them have mentioned this boot.
Yeah.
Now, we don't say that lightly. Any recommendation from us, it comes from experience or what we've heard on the grapevine. And yeah, Maindle Boutons, goes without saying, one of the best boots out there from a trekking point of view when it comes to tackling Everest Base Camp or Kilimanjaro. Or if you're heading to Island Peak, if you're on Machu Picchu, Annapurna, even Toubkal, on the trekking sections of any part of these trips, you won't go far with the Maindle Bouton. So certainly it's certainly highly recommend those. And we haven't got any shares in Maindle. We kind of wish we do by this time, because we I'm sure they've had a
spike. Haven't had a free pair yet. Still using the same pair.
I know.
But mate, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. I'm happy to be an unofficial ambassador, because I do like them so much. And yes, so the question today is that type of boot versus I'm going to pick up the Mammut, and if that's okay. Versus this, which is like your approach shoe, your trail shoe, that type of thing. These are the ones that Andy, I think he wore them to the office today. But there's many different types and variations. This is a Scarpa one.
These Mammuts are, I'd say, I'm just trying to, typically, this is the one boot because I was wearing it and I wasn't going to show it. But I suffer with plantar fasciitis, so over the years. And it wasn't until I got this boot so that actually it stopped. And one of the reasons is I've got another couple of pair of boots, shoes here, that are probably quite soft, and they're nice, walking around, say camp, or walking around your house, or walking the dog or something. But when you're out hiking and the stress on your arch, I really struggled over the last couple of years. But it wasn't until I got these, and these are Mammut, and actually the base of them is Michelin, believe it or not. I don't know if you can see that. Base of it is Michelin, and I done all the research, and these were the boots that, because they're harder, because they're rigid around this bit here, it builds up the resistance in the foot. And I don't get any pain anymore. I don't know if it's coincidence, but I wear these every day, and they're certainly one of the best that I've used. I'm just trying to find out the model number of it, because stupidly, I got all the model numbers of the rest, but not that
whilst you're doing that, I'll bring up. So first of all, a lot of love for the Salomons. We do have a set of the Salomons here. These are the Gore-Tex XA Pros 3Ds. Yes. This is probably the other end of the spectrum from those Mammuts. So the Hoka One, very popular with trail runners because they weigh nothing. They're actually quite flexible, but they compensate for being so flexible by having like huge amounts of like padding and stuff like that. And again, what we're getting into now is sort of the opinion section, because there's no right or wrong, and there's no you should or you shouldn't. Obviously, it goes without saying that if you're climbing a peak, you're going to need boots because they have to be crampon compatible. So this type of thing is not going to be possible to use on something like Island Peak or even Kilimanjaro. I recommend using boots for those things. Now, if someone ever asks my opinion about, say they're going to Everest Base Camp or a trekking trip anywhere, can you use boots? My advice is always use boots over shoes. You can bring a pair. I tend to bring a pair and wear them casually. So knocking around Dingboche, Namche, I'll put a pair on. If I want to go up a little hill on an acclimatization day, I might use them. But generally speaking, my day-to-day trekking happens in boots. The reason is because I believe if you get the right pair of boots, they are a do-everything type of thing. I've never
Yeah,
had
I
an
agree.
issue wearing the Maindles where I've thought I'd be so much happier if I didn't have the ankle support or something like that.
Yeah,
However, there are certain conditions and certain people that sort of they just can't get on with boots. They're too restrictive. They put stress on the Achilles tendon because the ankle support is tight, and so they tend to adopt the shoes. I think Ramona wore shoes all the way to EBC, and with
yeah. Ramona
EBC,
did, I believe.
yeah, and with EBC, it is entirely possible to do that.
Mm.
But say you were going to Kilimanjaro, I would be hesitant to attack Summit Night with just a pair of these. You know,
Yeah,
you will see porters doing it, you will see guides doing it, but with regards to us, so you're going to be going up there with no sleep. You're going to be going up there. It's extremely high altitude. It's going to be freezing cold, and on the top it is glaciated, so you are walking across awkward stuff. The last thing, one of the worst things I could think happen is rolling your ankle on the glacier on the summit of Kili
yeah,
because you didn't have the ankle support. And it might be unlikely, and a lot of people are experienced, but for me, it's about peace of mind and stuff like
yeah,
that. And I just think to myself, like, I'd rather have the extra support than not.
yeah.
But
Exactly, exactly.
but
There's
like I said,
yeah,
there's as many arguments against. And I was talking to the gentleman who I mentioned earlier, who I was like having a back and forth with, and he was going to Kilimanjaro and was just absolutely adamant he didn't want to wear boots. And ultimately, I had to say, listen, that's my advice. You know, you guys are free to choose your own path. you know,
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
uh,
yeah. I mean, we're all I say this all the time. We're all adults and we all have our own way of doing things. And part of the training and preparation for a trip is getting out there and wearing these before you actually do it on the trip,
yeah,
and finding out if they're too tight for you, or maybe they're too big for you, or you want maybe a bit of safety. Because I mean, I've done it before walking the dog. Like I've just been wearing trail shoes, and for some reason, I'll roll my ankle, and that can be just because I'm not thinking. My mind might be wandering. I might be listening to music, and it can happen at any time to anyone. And
yeah.
this isn't to obviously scare people to get in boots. This is just a reality. And for me, then I always kind of like wearing something a bit more protection, because I never know when those moments will come, because you never know. But yeah, with these boots, obviously, I know, because I just saw a question come in. I think it was Helen Dawson. This makes a good point. Obviously, these are all men's trainers, because these are all mine. Now, we don't have any female boots to show today, but all of these boots or shoes will have obviously female versions of them, and they're generally called the same model. So obviously, if you're looking for them, and Helen, obviously appreciate them, and any ladies out there, obviously with these are all men's. Sorry, Dave, did you mention the Hocker while I
I
was
mentioned the
looking?
Hocker, yeah, gone
Did
through the
you?
Hockers. So yeah, like as just to demonstrate the wide
Yeah,
variety that you can get. So you've got the Mammoths, which are like super stiff,
yeah,
and then you've got the Maindles, which are like easy. But then even so, in that, like just to show the difference between, even the Mammoths,
yeah,
for instance, these are like quite a stiff midsole, like that bit's hard, but that's how flexible all the
yeah,
shoes
yeah.
are. So when you're
Well, it gives
walking
you
on like
gives you give on the downhills.
yeah, but when you're on glaciers and things like that, so this is the Maindle, which is like you won't
Yeah,
be able to bend that. That's what I kind of like about it. I like the idea
yeah,
that I've got tools on my feet that I can kind of make
exactly.
steps with. But having said that, I just noticed a comment Ramona said that spent over $1,000 on boots, could never find the right pair. They caused
Yeah,
more damage than they solved. So I think in that case, then shoes are probably right for you. But the only reason I give my advice and I seem so like passionate about boots is because after so many trips where you hear people about rolling their ankles and stuff like that, and
yeah,
the boots are not going to solve that problem for you. It is still possible to roll an ankle in boots,
yeah,
100%.
100%, 100%.
But
Yeah,
it's all about marginal gains, and boots are marginally better at keeping your ankle in a straight line
yeah,
than shoes. And I think for a lot of people, these trips are maybe perhaps once in a lifetime, and just making that little difference, that little bit of confidence when you put your foot down can make a huge difference. But
I just saw Mark EV knows how you operate, Dave. Your top five Your top 5 items to carry in your day pack, and he's put little brackets with 20 in there.
Yeah, exactly.
He knows you well.
What's in there? What has he mentioned? Let's see. Spare pair in
Laces.
the. Oh
Laces.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, put those on the list. To be honest, I did a hike in Brecon one time and my laces snapped, and
Yeah.
I didn't have a pair, but I always have at least a pair of laces or some duct tape.
Yeah, good old
So
ducky. Yeah, why not?
so literally that was a case of like I just duct taped my ankle and around the boot, and then it was fine. But yeah, I always think put a spare pair in. If you're in Cotswold outdoors, you're buying a beanie, gloves, jacket, whatever. They
Yeah.
usually have them on the counter. They're about £2. Buy them, stick them in the day pack, forget about them.
Yeah.
Until you need them. That is.
The
But,
I've put in the comments those Mammut boots, by the way, are actually it's quite an unusual name called Al Nasker Knit 2 low men's boot approach shoes.
yeah,
So yeah, if you Google it, and because I highly recommend those, they are game changers for me. When it was to do with the flexibility of a approach shoe that I can wear every day, that got rid of my plantar fasciitis essentially. I really struggle with it, and I was thinking, and you know what, I bought these first because I thought, because these are, I mean, I don't know if you can see, they're like platform boots. Like that is all cushion, all there. And I thought, well, maybe that'll help. But you know what? It was too soft. It actually made it worse. I do
yeah,
like these though, every now and again. Like, so not every day. I do like these because they are soft. It's like walking on a duvet. It's so comfy. But if you're someone like me who's got plantar fasciitis, then maybe these aren't the best,
yeah.
But again, something else that we can use. Dave, I know we got a lot of questions to cover, but I want to finish this off around boots versus sort of shoes. I know we've covered some of it, but around what people wear in the evenings, or camps, or
Yeah.
what type of things. And I know you've obviously got something you use yourself.
Yeah, so I tend to be honest, like I after the hiking's done, and then when I'm just chilling in the evenings, I just want comfort. So I'll either wear a pair of sliders, just fresh pair of socks, put the sliders on, let the feet breathe. Been known to wander around Namshi in a pair of those,
Yeah,
especially in the lodges. They're perfect because just trust me, you don't want to walk barefoot or with socks into the toilets in the lodges anywhere. So the sliders make a big difference. Other than that, I can bring a pair. I might have a pair of approach shoes, but more often than not, it's just a pair of trainers. So last 2 EBC trips, I just had a pair of Adidas trainers just for wandering around. But most
yeah,
of the time, every night on Killy, after I finish the hiking, so put the boots
yeah,
down, let them air and dry out a little, and then put the sliders on, man. They're brilliant. They also don't weigh anything, and as long as you're not
yeah,
moving around too much, they're perfect. But yeah, and I think, but you'll see a lot of different stuff. Like a lot of people like these, they're like down jackets for your feet. These
yeah. I've seen
insulated, like,
those. I know a lot of people use them, don't they?
yeah, little like booties and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Personally, I don't like I run quite hot anyway. I don't like my feet being hot. I'd rather them be like
yeah.
cold and aired than sort of too hot. But yeah, so a lot of people use those as well. Yeah, but
Nice.
afterwards, it's just about comfort, about rest, about recuperating. If your feet are aching
Yeah,
after a long walk, you perhaps don't want to put on another hiking thing like this, and walk around in
yeah,
more hiking stuff. So you want to put on whatever's comfortable and whatever
yeah.
allows you to sort of recuperate after that day.
Exactly. I mean, another one I was going to say is the Scarpa. This is a Scarpa Crux approach shoe. That is very comfortable, very good for walking around, camp, or like any of these trail shoes. For me, I use boots during the day, trail shoes during the evening. So if you're walking around a village, you've still got a little bit of grip. And as Dave said, obviously you've got your flip flops or your sandals as well, and I think that covers it. But I suppose the main bit is that whatever works for you guys. These are some of our recommendations, and especially if you're trekking at different times of the year, like if you're on Island Peak or Mera Peak, maybe Toubkal in winter. Obviously, if you're looking at something as epic as Aconcagua, or even the Patagonia rice fields, maybe you need more specialist boots. I know we've talked about ones that are crampon compatible, rigid boots that we've talked about in previous lives. We didn't want to go through all the boots today. This is just some of them. I think, Dave, I know we've got a bit of a plan for the next couple of months, but I think we should do one all around, those particular trips. That'd be really good, I think, just to chat about those specific boots for Island Peak, Mera Peak, and Aconcagua, those kind of things. I think that'd be really valuable.
Yeah,
Let us know if that would be on the live, guys.
Yeah, I think so. Boots. So we can talk about like so there's the different gradings. Obviously, with boots, you have sort of ungraded. So Maindel Boutans don't really have a rating. They're a hiking boot. They're designed to be relatively flexible. Then you have B1, and it's all to do with the stiffness and support, and a lot of other factors as well. So some of them are dual layered for like summits. And stuff like that. But we can talk about sort of B1, B2, B3, corresponding crampons, C1, C2, C3, which ones you need for our trips, which ones you need for, say, Island Peak, how they fit. We can do a little demo again. We know you guys love the demos. So yeah, we can do stuff like that. Demos, yeah, well, I like to, we can talk about, fitting crampons and, all of that sort of stuff. So all of that lovely, good technical stuff as well. If Mick's watching as well, he'll enjoy that because it'll be a little bit about Island Peak as well.
Yeah. Well, we've got some, just talking about future lives, we've got some cool stuff coming up. One of them, I was in touch with Sam yesterday, just on the Altitude Center. He's the one that kind of runs the gym there. And we want to get down there and actually do a live. So, yeah, we're going to work out a day and get Steve, our awesome sexy business mountain lion or video guy. He's going to come down and we're going to do a live stream there. So, yeah, we're going to set up that because that'll be fascinating. Just to do some, focus on altitude and focus on the training. I know we share a lot of stuff anyway, but, as always, we love the scientific approach as well. And obviously Altitude Center, they're really, they come at it from that scientific approach. Very valuable. Yeah. Don't forget, obviously, if you are a customer of ours, an Evertrekker, that you can fill out a little form in your members area at the moment, and you can have a little chat with the Altitude Center. They'll get in touch with you just about the build up to your trip. So some of you, if you fill it in and your trip's in a couple of years, they might sort of say, look, leave it until another time, give you a few bits to go. But what they do is then they kind of do a plan that might be building into your trip. And I know a lot of you have moved your trips already, so that might be a bit scuppered, but fingers crossed, obviously, we're looking forward now, looking ahead. And, hopefully you'll be able to use those plans and go on these trips, right? But Dave, right, should we ask some questions? Because we had quite a lot come in this morning.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, so there's quite a lot of stuff in here. I've noticed some new names as well. Well, I think they're new. I don't like to say they're new in case you've been on before, and it's like I haven't noticed, but Miko's in as well. I've also been nudged by Lauren that I say this is, I think, growing up in Newport, I say Adidas when I think it's Adidas is the correct, but surely like there's more Adidas people out there, right? And are you Adidas or Adidas?
I don't wear them.
Yeah.
No, I used to. I'd say Adidas.
Yeah, I see. We're both Adidas. I think it's a
South Walian thing.
I think it's a South Walian thing, to be honest, because everyone I know, pretty much except my dad, says that.
I'd say okay. So if it's A is Adidas and B is Adidas, put A or B in the comments, guys. Interested to know who is what. So A, Adidas. B, Adidas.
Well, Charlotte Blackwood says that I'm right, and and Shona says she's with Lauren. So do you know what? We're gonna have to resolve this one day. We're all gonna have to get together in a pub, get a few beers down there. So A and B now. I'm thinking. So which one's A and which one's B? So A is what? Adidas. B is Adidas.
Yeah. Here we go. It's kicking off now. Jesus.
It is going mental. Potato.
There's a lot of B's in there. I'd say B is the overriding winner. I'd say.
Oh, right, yeah.
Mick says either. Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, when you're over a beer and you're drinking, you talk, and you say Island Peak several times, Mick, anything goes, right?
I have never seen the comments light up like that fast before over an issue like this.
Always ask for a vote.
Yeah, well, exactly. Shona, my mate worked for them in Germany.
We're not leaving Europe now, guys.
Shona, I'm sorry that Adidas even got their own name wrong. That's terrible. Nike. Nike. Joe, I'll be honest. I've moved from Nike to Nike.
What?
Yeah, I'm now Nike. For some
reason. I'm going to go for this again then. Right, A for Nike or B for Nike? Nike,
yeah.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, guys.
Should we do a whole live on this Porsche? And stuff like that.
Well, it's this engagement, isn't it? But no, obviously vote if you want, guys. So A for Nike, B for Nike. Here we go. Let's wait for the stream of comments to come in.
Awesome.
Here we go. Yes. Come on, A's. You will be a drink.
You will be a drink. Yeah, valid point. Yeah, yeah, that is true.
There's so many A's and B's here. You're spelling out ABBA. Now, I know the Eurovision Song Contest has just finished. But it does feel like we're adding up votes here, doesn't it?
Stuart Haddon coming in with a nice, sensible comment there to get things back on track.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, it's a bit of fun on a Tuesday afternoon. But anyway, at least we've been educated now about. So it is Adidas by the sounds of it, and it is Nike. So yeah, every day's a learning day, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I was half right at least. Because it's bike, not bikey. It's a valid point. That is a valid point. Don't mention Eurovision, Leah.
Sorry, Leah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, especially from the UK point of view, because we did great, right?
I've never watched it. I had to mute the group I'm in because it was getting a bit obsessed.
Some of the guys are into it, but yeah, Dave, let's it'd be great, Miko, obviously, getting some feedback. But Miko, yeah, sorry, question.
So Miko, he hasn't been on the lives for a while, so come on, Miko. Yeah. So, hey, you guys, Andy and Dave. So, from Boots to another topic, have you used self-inflated mattresses on our treks, whether it be EBC or Killy? He's heard about people using them for a little bit of extra support. And now, he's heard about Thermarest and stuff like that. So, okay, Thermarest are brilliant. They're a bit expensive, so quite a lot more expensive, actually, than some of the more cheaper models. Thank you, Charlotte. Dave's 100% right. Awesome. But yeah, I recommend Thermarest because, one, they pack down really small. So I own one. They pack down to about this big. More importantly, I suppose, than the size is the weight. They don't weigh anything. I didn't get a self-inflating one when I went to Kilimanjaro, and I regretted it because each camp was a new challenge for me. And I remember on one day I was getting stars in my eyes because of the altitude blowing this thing up. So either get a self-inflating Thermarest or get the little pump that you can get. It's about this big and it like pumps it up for you. I think they're great, to be honest. I do like a therm bed as well. So actually, when we were on our way up Kilimanjaro, I swapped with Andy. So Andy, so Andy was lying on just basically the floor, and then after a while he was getting sore and I was getting sore because it was too soft. So we swapped and it tended to work out. But I think, again, it's one of those items where if you've got the space, take one because you'd rather have it and not use it than, need it and not have it.
They're really good. I mean, the Thermarest, I'll tell you what, it's hard blowing her up their altitude, isn't it? I mean, you handed it to me after 4 days and at 5,000 feet, trying to blow up a Thermarest.
Meters.
Yeah, you do see stars.
Yeah. 5,000 meters to land.
What's that?
5,000 meters.
What did I say?
Feet.
Wow.
Yeah, you need to work on your. You got to work on your cardio, mate. If it's 5,000 feet.
I know, right? I know, definitely. Yeah, my lungs clearly struggling, but 5,000 meters.
Awesome.
All right, great. Right, next one. How much does it cost to hire a sleeping bag for a Killy trip? January 2022. It's very negligible, right, Dave? It's like $10, $15 from the shop there. It's $40. $40 for the entire trip. But it's a proper sleeping bag, so it's a down sleeping bag designed like minus 25, I think. It's really, really good, designed for the coldest nights and the warmest nights on Killy. So it's a good sleeping bag. But $40 for the entire trip. Yeah, nice. So what's that, about £30? So it's pretty good.
£30,
we're working on, obviously, with Nepal, with the kind of package we have out there. It's freezer hire, but with Tanzania, a little bit of extra cost, but £30 for the trip. Nice. Right, I'm going to plow on through because I know we've got a few here. Let's have a look. So Julie has asked a really good question about obviously November this year. Booked to go to EBC. Julie, we can't wait for you to come with us. Talking about COVID, especially Nepal and India. Obviously, we know it's difficult at the moment. What is the notice period to cancel or obviously reschedule? When do you advise about transferring the trip to 2022? Yeah, I mean, with regards to this year, we did send an email out to everyone who was booked this year. Julie, just on our recommendations and keeping everyone in the loop around, obviously, the situation, which isn't great in Nepal and India. And, we always want to be very transparent with you and let you guys know. And, it's kind of, we're still keeping positive around the autumn. Our plans are to still trek in the autumn. Obviously, we're governed by where we're allowed to travel. And if it's on the red list, we won't be able to go. Amber list, very similar. And, in terms of when. I mean, we are very flexible with all of our trips, but as it comes closer to the time, we'll give you our feedback and say, look, it's not going to be removed anytime soon. So those trips will have to be rescheduled. And with ours, don't forget that you're booked onto a date, but because we offer lifetime deposits and the flexibility, if you're booked on a trip, that trip can be anytime. So you can move that to a different date. So obviously with yourself, Julie, you're looking at November, you've got a bit of time yet. What was it, 6 months? Plenty of time. Give it another 3 months maybe. And then let us know and say, look, okay, with the uncertainty, I want to move. And that goes obviously to everyone. If you want to move your date, don't forget you can do it for free. But if you want to wait and see, that's fine as well, because we know that some people have rescheduled 2 or even 3 times, and it can get really frustrating. But I feel we're super close now. It's mad in the UK because I know we've got obviously all the different variants around, but it's getting better. That's certainly the case, I think. But that being said, it is always challenging when like Nepal or India and having those different variants can cause a lot of aggro. And we're trying to obviously help them as much as we can, which I suppose, Dave, midstream here, talking about streams, because I know that Ramona was talking about streams earlier. Should we talk about the little sort of fundraising event we're going to be doing?
Yeah, definitely.
Go on, Dave. If you want to start us off, and I can talk more.
Yeah, why not? So obviously, just following on from all the great work that's already been done. We've talked about things like we did, like the jackets, which are still available. By the way, we're doing one last run, I believe. So those jackets are there. But we always sort of struck by, even after we've done these things, people still messaging us. They're wanting to do more.
Yeah.
And also we want to broaden the reach as well, because we don't just have the guys in Nepal, we also have the guys in Tanzania. So what we've decided to do is a really kind of awesome event, which we have called Strides for Guides, and it's designed to help both our teams in Nepal and Tanzania. And it's an awesome way where you guys, every single person on this live, every person that's probably listening, is into hiking, trekking, the outdoors, and it's a way that you can raise money for those people to support them through the difficulties by doing exactly that, by being in the outdoors, by walking. So yeah, it's amazing.
Nice, Dave. Yeah, so Strides for Guides is essentially it's going to be next month, so in June. I'm going to get involved, so I'll be doing it as well. And there's a couple of things you can do. The main one is you can aim to trek, walk, or run 100 kilometers during June. And I'm going to aim for 200 kilometers because, Dave can't walk, run, or track at the moment.
You're doing my
so
100.
I'm doing your 100. So essentially what we want to do, and the general message, guys, is getting out there in June. I know you're all hiking anyway. You're all out there. And obviously I know lots of people are back to work as well. But if we can do 100 kilometers each and obviously do some fundraising, and that's why we come up with Strides for Guys, because we can get out there whilst raising some money, and then it'll be divvied up then between Tanzania and Nepal. So we did a little bit of something between Nepal and Kili, so Kili in Tanzania, and the distance between the summit of Everest and the summit of Kili was just over 6,300 kilometers as the crow flies. And we thought, imagine as a community we can trek that collective distance. It's a little bit of fun, but also at the same time, whilst raising money and raising funds for these awesome people who have had it tough. I know if you've been involved in the community for any length of time, you know that we work very closely with our teams in the countries, and I know it's been tough here in the UK or Australia or whatever you're from. But we want to help these guys because they haven't had any tourism at all, and they're having it tough, and we've supported them through so far. Obviously, we fundraised for the jackets. We did a little fundraiser back in May. I think totally we've done about $7,000 or £7,000 at the moment, which has been great. So food and supplies and cash has been needed because that's what's needed for them over there. So it'd be great if everyone can get involved in this. So hashtag Strides for Guides. We're putting more out on the group and social media. Obviously, all the money that you raise, I think Lauren has shared the little link. So we got it there. So it's basically through GoFundMe. So any fundraising that you do, you can then obviously donate it to that link. And we're aiming to get to about £10,000. So we can send 5 over to Nepal, 5 over to Tanzania, and really make an impact.
Yeah.
In that link, in the Strides for Guides, you'll find there's a couple of links. One of them is to like a Strava link. So basically, what we do is all the Evertrekkers. I know a lot of you are hooked up to Strava for your watches or your phones, and you can track your runs or your treks. And then we'll have like a leaderboard, so we can see who's doing, how far people are trekking and how you're doing in terms of aiming for the 100 or the 200. And that's always good from just to see how everyone's doing. And if you're not on the old Strava, you can download. We've got a bit of a tracking form, so you can download that and just fill it in, just so you can tally that up, just for a bit of fun. But yeah, let us know how you guys are feeling about that. Obviously, any comments around that would be great. Really excited about it, and obviously really keen to raise some funds, and that's going to be in June. So we start that on the 1st of June, and then all of June. Then, if we can all get out there, hopefully the weather will be a bit nicer by then. And raise some funds. I think that'll be really fun, especially with all the different walking groups that are sprouted from Evertrek. Some of our Evertrekkers that have started different groups around the UK. I think we got a great community here that can really come together and make a difference. So let's make that happen, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be joining you as well. So yeah, I'll be doing 200 kilometers in June. Yeah, good training as well. Obviously for your trip. So it gives us a good opportunity. But yeah, just wanted to get that in there. Check out the links that are in the comments. Obviously, any questions, just drop us a message, guys.
Exactly. I think there's the Escape to the Peak District gang. I think that should be easy, 200 kilometers each for those guys. I think there's a Welsh one, but honestly, it would be awesome if you guys could just, help us in raising as much money as you can for those guys. They're the ones that make all of this trips happen. Things like the Tuesday Twos wouldn't even exist if it wasn't for those guys, because we wouldn't be running trips. It would just be me and Andy sat here talking about the weather. But honestly, that'd be awesome. And obviously I'll be there with you, each and every one of you, in spirit. I'm going to do 100 meters in June, but I don't know if anyone's going to sponsor me for that, but it'll be a token gesture.
Everyone's Everest is different, Dave. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Should we do some of the
next question? Questions? Let's do it, Dave.
So Andrew Corran has said, hi guys, from a first aider's point of view, always the best point of view, do any of the tea houses or guys have access to defibrillators? So most trekking expeditions, in fact, not anyone that I know of will carry a defibrillator.
No.
Most of the lodges don't have one. There will be probably one in Namche because they have a doctor's there. I know there's one in Ferice because they have a high altitude hospital there. But essentially, when you're at altitude, the first thing that we need to do is get you down before everything else. So there's a hospital in Lukla which has one, but in terms of actually carrying one, no, there isn't. If you'd like to know where the nearest one is, Lukla is probably your best bet. If you need one though, you're going straight to Kathmandu. That's pretty much how they'll do it. Depending on the severity of the situation, that potentially we can look at things like evacing a doctor if the person is immovable, but hopefully you'll never need one. It's never happened on any of our trips, put it that way.
No, I mean, it's that's not saying that obviously, Dave, I know we've heard of stories of things happening. It's altitude, it's adventure travel, it's dangerous, and unfortunately, because these remote regions, they're not quite obviously up to the standards we're used to, Andy. So yeah, it's I know you said that from a first aider's point of view, it's important to know where these things are. But Dave mentioned a few there around Ferice, Namche, and Lukla, which is that's where the high altitude doctors' locations are. But knowing the remoteness of there, they obviously not sure whether they're working. I'd like to think they are because of the doctors, but essentially I think we'd have to go up there with that. It's obviously potentially life threatening, but it is a remote region. And obviously we want to let you guys know, and like that's how it is up there. We haven't got facilities to carry them up there, unfortunately, but it's something that potentially might improve in the future. But we have to accept that when you go into altitude, there's no element of danger, and that's going to remote regions without access to normal medical care like this. So yeah, obviously, Andy, we want to chat with further, mate. Happy to have a chat with you. But yeah, there's unfortunately not much up there. I've never seen any in the tea houses that I've been to.
No.
Unfortunately, never been to the doctors up there either. But I know generally, I mean, all the, you know, when it comes to managing health and things like that, all of our guides are high altitude trained when it comes to first aid. You know, lots of these guides have climbed Everest. They're vastly experienced. You know, and if there's any sign of any difficulty like that, you know, obviously we'll get those people down 100%.
Yeah. One thing I just want to bring up, a couple of people asking, so how do you
Yes.
find it on Strava? So if you go on Strava, I know this is visual, it might work. So there's Strava right here. You've got clubs, click on clubs, find a club, and then put in strides for guides. I know that was pretty terrible visuals, but yeah, you need to go into your homepage. Along the bottom menu is groups, find a club, and strides for guides, and then you'll got it as well. Actually, Shona's actually been a star and posted the link.
She has.
So yeah, that's how you do it, guys.
Yeah, nice one, Shona. I think Lawrence posted the link as well. But yeah, Paul, anyone, we will put the links out there so you can get on the Strava group. So we're all together. Even Leah, if you're out there in Oz, mate, it'd be great to hear your trekking, you know, and your hiking or running journeys on that group as well. So yeah, let's all get on there. It'd be quite fun, wouldn't it? And we can see how we all get on in June. That would be fantastic.
Exactly. So
yeah, next up, Dave.
So John, hi guys, booked to go to Kilimanjaro in 2021. Awesome, John. Good work, my friend. Bit of a novice with trekking. That's okay. It's just walking, mate. Everyone's a novice until they start. You've been looking at boots. Have you tried the On or ON hiking boots, a Swiss company? Yes, I have. So I do have a pair. I've tried them. They were very good running shoes. However, the hiking boots, I had a slight issue with them, which was, if any of you are familiar with On, I think it's On or ON, they have this very unique sole pattern with like lots of ridges and gaps and stuff like that.
Okay.
With regards to the hiking boot, I got a lot of stones and stuff jammed in those little ridges. So it's quite annoying when I was walking to have like the clippity clop and scraping of those little stones. They did get compacted. So yeah, I did have a little bit of an issue with those, but so I sent them back. However, I did have a running pair and they were really, really good for running. They no longer get any use. They just sat there. But yeah, no, I am aware of them. I'd be interested if anyone else had any different experience with them. This was about a year and a half ago that I tried them. So it was quite a while ago. And maybe I didn't give them a fair crack of the whip because I got annoyed. But I hear they're very, very good. They're a little bit expensive as well, though. Yeah, but yeah, no, nice. I'd be never used them. No, yeah, well, I saw them and they just looked really good. You know, so I just thought, well, I'm going to try them because, you know, I like new innovative bits of technology and they looked really interesting. But yeah, with regards to the hiking boots, I did one hike with them in Brecon and they got maybe it was just the Welsh terrain caked with mud and stones and stuff, and it was a little bit annoying. So more of a traditional sole for me, thanks.
Nice.
But yeah,
nice,
and
next one. Yeah, sorry, mate, jump in. I say it's absolutely hammering down outside. Absolutely hammering down.
I don't even notice it. I don't even notice anymore, mate.
You're deep in, mate. That's great. That's right, Simon has asked, booked a deposit to Everest Base Camp with one of our competitors. Wow. Simon, how could you? No, all good, mate. All good. We obviously want to help everyone, even if you're going with someone else. But obviously, do get in touch with them as well. Certainly, if you're going in September. But feeling now, Nepal is red listed due to coronavirus deaths spiraling out of control. Thinking of postponing. When would be the best month to go? Thinking about October 2022. So yeah, essentially, Simon, you know, September through to the end of November is autumn trekking season. Then in the spring, you've got March through to the end of May. You can go most of the times of the year, but we only run trips during those times of the year. Obviously, check out with the company you're going with. Or come with us, you know, you can do. Yeah, but when it comes to the times of year, I mean, September, October can sometimes be a bit wet. Excuse me. Especially on the, you know, if you go into Everest Base Camp, the first sort of 3 or 4 days, because of where you're at, might be a bit, you know, might be a bit, I'd say, wet or damp if you get any precipitation. The later you leave it in the year, the colder it gets, but the likely it is you'll get better weather because you've got the monsoon season that happens sort of maybe middle of June to say the end of August. But sometimes that creeps in to September. I've been over there in September, Dave, excuse me, and I know we've got drenched a few times. You know,
the umbrella incident, that was the umbrella incident. Yeah, where I bought the most expensive umbrella in the Kumbu. But to be fair, I ended up with an umbrella because I gifted both my rain jackets to fellow Evertrackers.
You did, didn't you?
So yeah, I took one for the team. Thinking I'd be
Awesome
okay.
as always, mate.
Yeah, then they shot off ahead with their lovely new rain jackets, and I was left behind thinking this was an error. You know, that thing in the airline where you need to look after yourself before you can look after others? I did the opposite. But yeah. Ramona, favorite Evertrack runners, please. But yeah, honestly, we have, to be honest, we've helped many people that aren't on our trips, you know, because ultimately we want everyone to book with us. But not everyone does, and that's fine. But you know, if they reach out to us and they offer help, and they need help, we'll never turn people down. We've arranged jackets for people in Kathmandu. One guy was booked with another company, didn't have a jacket. For the provider wasn't giving him one, so he contacted us and we arranged it. And there was another guy when I was on the plane. Remember that? And when I was giving him advice when he was actually up in Dingboche, and I was flying to Kathmandu, giving him advice on the plane.
No, that's it. I think Dave makes a good point there. Like, it doesn't matter who you're with. Obviously, you know, we run a trekking company, and you know, if you want to come, we'd love to have you with us. But you know, the mountains are dangerous enough. So if you need any help on, you know, doing well in the mountains, I was going to say surviving, but obviously we're not talking Bear Grylls or anything here. You never know. But when it comes to safety and things like that, look, you know, we're here to answer questions and help people on their journey. That's why I started the company, and as to help everyone's journey in these mountains. And then it's, you know, it's why we've got such a great community now, because people can pay that on, and you know, hopefully some of the advice we're giving today, guys, and you can pass that on, and with all the walking that you guys do, you know, we're spreading positivity. So yeah, no, it's all good. Happy to have everyone on the page. And obviously, you know, if you want to come with us, then we'd obviously love to have you and help you on your journey.
Yeah. Awesome. Next question was it? Yeah. Brian here said, Brian Yamson, suggestions for barefoot shoes or wide foot boots. So I own a pair, unsurprisingly. They are what they call the Vivo Barefoot Tracker.
How'd you get on with them, Dave? I've never really got on with barefoot.
They're wide. They're the widest shoes I own. You can literally fold them up, so they're not very stiff.
Wow.
I think it's something you've got to build up to. You know, if you're already a seasoned barefoot runner and you wear a lot of barefoot sort of hiking boots and stuff like that, or maybe those 5 fingers, then I think you can go out and do a long trek, a multi-day trek. Personally, I bought these because I like the idea of strengthening my feet. So I use them off and on shorter hikes. I'll be honest, my feet were killing me by the time I got to the end. But they are very wide, and they are pretty good. But they're an acquired taste, and I would be inclined to build up to them by using them. I wouldn't sort of buy a pair and go to Killy in them, for instance. I would be more inclined to sort of build up that strength in your feet and then use them, you know, as your everyday boot, if that's your plan. Other than that, though, yeah, they're pretty good. They fit well. They're like I said, I can't suggest how they're the widest shoe I've ever known, but that's because they want to accommodate that natural spread as your feet go down. I use the Maindles, and they're quite narrow, to be fair. They're probably the narrowest boot that I can get along with. The Maindles, I find, but there are much wider boots out there. I think Shona was talking about wide boots. So yeah, I think message Shona if you need advice on wide boots.
Shona will sure to put the advice in there. But yeah, Barney is I put another question in here. I think for Annapurna Base Camp, and they're as we always say, you know, they can work for everyone's different. You know, anyone who's used these are different. I've certainly seen them out and about. But yeah, it's always the feedback I've always had from them is that, because they are so different to what we're used to, and you feel everything underfoot. You know, after a while, it's cool, but after a while, then they get a bit sore, and you know, it's worth getting something with a bit more support. But look, let us know how you get on. Always interested to, you know, because we don't want to, you know, say, oh no, they're rubbish and they don't work, because clearly, you know, they're very popular and for a reason. So, you know, as always, you know, I've not used them myself, and you know, I know they work for different people. But let us know how you get on, and you know, maybe your training and some of your practice hikes in the UK. I'd love to hear how you're getting on, and we can obviously share that with the community. And you know, if they do work for you, great, then we can share that story and hopefully help other people. But yeah, certainly worth talking about those. I was just looking now on some of the some of the comments to find out. Shona, which boots were you talking about, which were slightly wider?
I think it's the hand wags.
The hand wags. That's it.
I
I think
think
you're
it's the
right with
hand
that. Yeah.
wags. I think it's the hand wags.
Okay.
But yeah, another Leah has said, can we count any walk for strides for guides, or is it just hikes? You mean
No,
around the
no
block with the
walks.
dog?
Yeah,
Anything,
yeah. Yeah. It all
anything.
adds up. All adds up. Yeah.
The way I look at it, Leah, is we're trying to raise 10 grand. If we raise 9,995, and you're the hero that gets that £5 sponsorship and gets us to 10, imagine what a hero you're going to be. It all adds up. It all counts. It's all vitally important.
Yeah.
And I hate to sound like like a bit of a charity advert, but whatever you can do, you may provide food for a guide's family for a whole week on
Exactly.
far less than you actually think. So yeah, awesome. No, get out there, walk the dog. And
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Post pictures of you and the dog as well. So we'd like to see some dog pictures. Always love an ever dog.
Yeah, always love a little doggy picture. But yeah, Strides for Guides is essentially just about getting out there, walking, hiking, running. And don't think this is something that you have to donate to. This is something that you can get involved in, and then you can actually share the link and get the funds yourself to share into the big pot. So we want everyone to get out there and sort of say, right, okay, if you can do 100 kilometers, and then people can sponsor you, and then you obviously donate it to the GoFundMe page, then great stuff. That's the kind of plan. I hope that's come across clearer. Let us know if it hasn't. I can definitely
So
put some
basically,
comments out there.
if you're going to pledge your own money, that's awesome. But even better is to get everybody to pledge money as well. So yeah, get everyone, like, seriously, drive them mental with it. Get them to pay you to go away, and then get out there and smash those trails, or go around the block, or walk the dog till he can't handle it. It's going to be great. Awesome.
Exactly.
So loads more, man. I knew this would happen with boots. So Dave Rimington, foot powder, talc, or some other cocktail of anti-slip and deodorant. I just use talc for everything, because they sell it in Namche. So I don't bring it with me. I buy it in Namche, and then it gets disposed of back in Kathmandu. There was one question that I did spot that I thought I would answer, and it was about someone that said they were having trouble with boots. Okay, Suzette, have a wide foot, high arch. It really doesn't matter which boot you wear, as the left foot does fine. But after a couple of hours, the ball on your right foot hurts and the toes go numb. So my suggestions for that, go to and get some custom-made orthotics. So that's because two boots will generally have the same sort of dimensions for each boot, and everybody's feet might be slightly different. So I would go and get some custom-made orthotics to put inside. That means that the left foot's getting supported how the left foot needs, and the right foot's getting supported how the right foot needs. I know people who have got custom orthotics and said that it's changed everything: hip pain, knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain. It all starts from the feet and goes up. So
Cool.
Get some of those.
Dave, we'll do some quick fire ones as we'll try and get through all these questions if we can, because I know we're coming to an hour already. Wow. Just while we're here though, people asking around, is it a Just Giving page? Danny, I think that was. No, it's not on Just Giving. It's on it's a GoFundMe page. So Just Giving is to kind of, because we're a business, we're not a charity, but all the money is going direct to the guides in Nepal and Tanzania. Whereas obviously charities, it kind of gets used in other areas. So yeah, with GoFundMe, it's all done via that page. So for instance, if you wanted to share it to your parents, or your sister, whatever it is, share it on your Facebook page. Use the link that we've given you there. So any donations then will get tallied up to there, and then obviously then you can get out there and do some trekking or walking or hiking or climbing, whatever you want to do to get those 100 kilometers. But it has to be on the feet. Right. Yeah. Let's crack through these then. Wellies not recommended. That's from Margaret.
Wouldn't recommend them.
No, and today needs them though. But it's I agree.
No, I mean, no. If anyone's ever done like a really long day in wellies, no, terrible idea. But brilliant for walking through the woods with your dog, but not EBC or Gilly.
Definitely. I think Donald's asked, Solomon Quest GTX boots be suitable for EBC? Yes. I've seen those quite a lot, quite popular actually. Good solid boot. I've not used those myself. But I know a lot of Evertrekkers who had.
Very popular.
Very popular, isn't it? I'd say, other than the Mainland Bhutans, one of the most popular on the treks.
I would say the Salomon boots, the Quests. Maybe I don't know, 30% of every trekker I ever see anywhere I go.
Yeah.
They wear those Salomons. They're a really popular boot. Let's have a quick
Yep.
look. So Danny Cheese, how's it going, Danny? Danny Cheese to his mates. Any sort of okay, so basically once the trekking's over, anything you recommend? So what I suggest is rewind a little bit and we'll give you a full answer, but basically whatever
Yeah.
you find comfortable. If you want warm stuff, you can get those sort of insulated booties. I wear sliders or a pair of Adidas trainers.
Yeah. Nice. Ramona's asking, what about stilettos in the evening? Must
Fill your
look our
boots,
best.
go mad. Yeah, do what you
Yeah,
need
I'd
to.
say, yeah, bring them. Not sure
Ro-
about the streets of maybe Namche. Might be a bit difficult, but they work. Yeah, if that's what you're comfortable in, why not,
Ramona
Ramona? And
just
that goes to
Ramona
men or women.
Ramona just really wants to undermine my ankle support. Like no matter how much I keep going on about it, Ramona's like shoes, stilettos, stilts.
Brilliant. James has asked, be looking at Inov Pro G400s, the Keen Ridge Flex. Anyone used before? Yeah, so that's the Keen Ridge Flex or the INOV Pro G400. So ask that to everyone on the live. Has anyone used those? I know James, after some feedback, I've never used those myself, mate. But yeah, they sound good. I think anyone. It's funny, isn't it? When you get you look at these, and they've got
There's the guitar
XA
again,
Pro
and
3D. Oh, sorry guys, XA Pro 3D, and it's like, okay, cool. But the name's like really long, isn't it? But yeah, if they got those sort of length of names, but yeah, it's probably really good. But let us know how you get any feedback on that. Let's have a little look. What else we got, Dave? Right, any more questions before we finish up then?
Well, I think we're going to finish because we're getting some information that we're freezing a little bit, so people's feeds are freezing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a couple of people have said it, but hopefully you're still there.
I know we've had some bad weather.
No.
So
Hillary says it's all working. Donald says this is working, but occasional. So I'm going to go with we're still working. No, I think that's pretty much it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Dave, one thing to mention, sorry, before we go off, because we haven't discussed it yet, is a new trip in the UK we got, right?
Oh, wow. Yeah. So basically we have, it's an awesome new trip. We called it the Snowdonia Explorer.
Yeah.
So we wanted to have, so basically we've got our training weekends and then we've got our winter mountaineering weekends. And we realized actually that, we've done this awesome 4-day, 3-night trip in Snowdonia. It's going to be guided by our good friend, Steve, the mountaineer who does all of our winter training. So it's, you start off in the Ogwen Valley. That's where you're going to be staying. And basically you're going to be spending 3 days exploring all of the regions of Snowdonia with the summit of Snowdon as well, but also some of the more sort of exciting neighboring peaks like the Glither. Was it Andy? You can
the Glider Eye,
the Glitter Eye and the
range. Yeah.
I'm terrible at the Welsh pronunciation, but yeah, it's an awesome trip. We've got it up on the website now.
Yes.
Andy, the date that you've written down on the screen in front of you, what date is it for?
Yeah, so it's on the 12th of August is when it starts. Unfortunately, with regards to popularity, we've only got 8 spaces on this trip, just because it's we're limited with accommodation in North Wales, as you can imagine. Everyone's trying to, you've only got certain amount of spaces to stay, and all the accommodations taken. But we found really good place to stay in the Ogwen Valley, and it's so we got that weekend sort of reserved for 8 people. So if you're interested, definitely get on that link there. That's on there. So the Snowdonia Explorer, it's a really cool trip. I'm sure it'll book up quite fast because we've only got 8 spaces. Unfortunately, it's the only trip we're able to do at the moment in that area. We've potentially got some more training weekends coming on. We got another one in August, training weekend we're running, and I think we've got another date in Brecon, in Wales. And we've also got, I think, another one coming. We've got another date on the website now, haven't we, which is becoming quite popular.
Yeah, exactly. And also with the Snowdonia Explorer as well, just to let you know, there will be more of them put on. But it is very difficult at the moment to get accommodation in there. But we're very lucky that our connections up there are really good. So we've got a really awesome bunkhouse in the Ogwen Valley where the mountain rescue guys stay as well. So it's perfectly central from where you need to go. So you wake up in the morning and there's no driving or anything like that. You're right in the center of it. And we will be running more as well as soon as we lock down some more accommodation dates and stuff like that. Donald, with regards to Scotland, yes, we will. To be honest, with all of our like Scotland trips, which is where we do some winter mountaineering courses.
Yeah.
So you'll learn about, crampon use, ice axe use, self-arrest using the ice axe, cutting steps, and all of that sort of really good stuff. We will be getting some more dates up. We haven't due to COVID because they've been completely shut down, but we will start to get all those stuff on the website, and we'll talk about them on a Tuesday when we do. So, yeah.
Well, it's also worth remembering with those as well. It's that especially with the conditions, is that unfortunately because the lockdown was most of the winter, we weren't able to run those kind of trips in the winter conditions. Now we're coming into June, so yeah, we've done all with regards to those trips, especially if they're winter conditions. So the winter skills training in Scotland and in Snowdonia, they will be sort of towards the end of 2021 now. But yeah, anyway, we hope that's been useful to everyone. Yeah, it seems like a few people are leaving. Yeah, cheers, Mark. Cheers, Andrew. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Dave, any sort of final thoughts? I know it's been mad today. We've loads of questions. Great.
Yeah, exactly. Final thoughts are, if you ask me for my opinion, I'll always recommend boots over shoes because I think that gives the added security and safety. But obviously, you guys know what works for you. If in doubt, bring both. Sacrifice something else in the bag for the weight. Bring both, and that way, you've covered both ends. Peace of mind is what it's all about. But yeah, we'll do another one about more the technical aspects of boots. B1,
yes,
B2,
100%.
B3.
I'd like to get Steve on one as well because obviously with his knowledge and we did all of our training, through Steve at Aim Higher. It'd be good to get Steve on live. I'm sure he'd enjoy that. When it comes to all of our trips, obviously we, high altitude is where we're at, and we lean on the people who are experts in what they do. And Steve is an expert when it comes to mountaineering, winter skills. Obviously we love it. Just like Mick does on Island Peak. Mick, it must be 8 times today, Mick, on this live. A beer for every time I say Island Peak, Mick. But yeah, so when it comes to, we always try and get the experts in, especially people like Steve. Who's far more experienced than us. Although obviously altitude is where we is our bag. Yeah,
but when the two combine, you get Captain Trekker.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, Dave,
exactly. No, and he'll get all the Welsh pronunciations correct because he's bilingual.
Yes. Yes. First language is Welsh, isn't it? So
yeah, first language is Welsh. Yeah, there are a few.
Yetis, Donald. Yes. 9 times, Mick. Wow, that's a record. We're gonna have to do. I have to try and beat that next week. Yep. All right. Well, look, love you and leave you. Thanks for always for joining us, guys. It's been a pleasure today. Nice to see some engagement, voting going on. It's nice now that I know how to say Nike and Adidas, Nike. as well as saying Nike.
You said Nike.
Did I? Yeah. I'll never get it right.
We're going to have to revisit this again, and I can see.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I just won't wear them.
Yeah, valid point.
All right. Well, look, have an awesome week. And we'll catch you next Tuesday.
Take care, guys.
Adios.